From the mountains of British Columbia to you all around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. And I'll tell you, if anything gets interrupted tonight, it is because we got one heck of a lightning storm brewing here, just waiting for the pitchforks to come down. We welcome you to tonight's show, including Kingdom of Nye Radio and Revolution Radio. If you want to take a listen to our archives, they are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have soon a plethora of features for you. The Gavinators, getting things done. You can read up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire, listen to the show live as well. Tonight's show is brought to you by Mighty Moose Beard Oil Company. It's 100% Canadian, 100% natural, taking care of beards around the world. Visit MightyMooseBeard.com. Use promo code SOR2019 today. The third Wednesday of the month, we bring in Mike Morin from Haunted Crew of Canada to discuss all things weird and strange with a little ditty we call around here, Ghosts of the Great White North. Tonight, we are joined by documentarian Darcy Weir out of Vancouver, British Columbia, who recently did a documentary on Mexican journalist and UFO researcher Jaime Moussan. We'll also touch on the paranormal scene and what it takes to make a great documentary. Going to get into a bunch of different stories as well. Then at the bottom of hour number 3, I will bring you the SOR Newswire, brought to you by Paranoia Magazine. It's all Merle, all day, all night here on SOR. Mike Morin, how you doing, Merle?
I'm doing fantastic, man. Good to be here tonight.
Good to be here, too. You got an exciting event coming up this Saturday in a small little town called Merritt, British Columbia. Tell us what's going on.
We do. We're doing a charity ghost hunt tour at the Bailey House Historic Site. And we do it every year. We bring about 25 to 30 guests. This house is kind of my kryptonite. It's where I got actually choked out by a ghost last year, believe it or not.
Oh, you got to tell the audience that story if they haven't heard it yet.
I sure will. We were filming last year, and I was kind of doing a little bit of a provoking. Let's call it that, of ghosts, because we weren't getting any responses. It was pretty dry, and then all of a sudden, our medium Blair. She can, I don't want to use the word possessed, but she can have ghosts talk through her or walk through her. And then all of a sudden, a ghost started, I call it Blair doing her thing. So a ghost started to talk through her, manifest through her, and it's kind of weird. I've never seen her face contort very much, not exorcism style, but more just, she looked very angry, and it wasn't her actual facial features. And she was just staring at me, and I was doing my peppering of questions of who are you, what's your name, all that sort of fun stuff. And then Jay had to kind of hold her back from coming at me. So then I simmered it down a little bit, and then we went into the bedroom of where where they said a lot of the activity happens, where people get touched, the doors close, they hear noises, different smells. I don't like going in that room. It just creeps me out daytime, nighttime, anytime. And then we start doing it, amping up again, asking the questions, give us responses, using all of our gear. And all of a sudden the room got really cold. And then Jay thought he heard something down the hallway, one of our investigators. And then Blair kind of did the angry look again. And I'm like, oh, crap, what's happening now? And then I all of a sudden feel like a large man's hand around my neck. And up until then, I was skeptical of things like that happening because it has never directly happened to me. I've seen people get scratched. I've seen people get pushed. I've seen people's hair get pulled. But nothing's ever happened to me. I've always been scot-free at all these investigations. And no, I felt my neck, and then I felt the squeezing, and then I hightailed it out of there like a little girl and puked in the flower bush. So I'm returning there this weekend. Yes.
I'm trying to get there, Merle.
It was not Blair. It was an imaginary hand. Not imaginary, but you know what I mean. Our team, we have a private investigation where we're going to be filming Friday night, and then we're doing the big charity hoo-ha on Saturday night. It'll be fun. Dave, I heard you might be coming.
I'm going to try and get there. I have put the word out to the public, well, the private family. And because little SOR is down visiting Grandpa and Grandma for the next couple of weeks down on the coast. So got a little bit more free time. Going to try and get there, my friend. It is on the list of things to do here. So I'll know probably closer to the weekend here and let you know if I could join it, because I want to check this place out. I want to feel it. I want to see it. And, one of the beautiful parts of living in British Columbia here, as we introduce Darcy Weir, documentarian of all things weird and strange out of Vancouver, British Columbia. Darcy, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Dave. I'm happy to be here.
One of the things that we have noticed is around British Columbia here, there is and you know what, I will say the majority of Canada for our American listeners out there. If you're a paranormal investigator that is looking for a brand new adventure, seriously, Canada is the place to come. And I'll tell you why. Because the majority, literally 95% of Canada's population, or 90% is within 100 miles of the Canada-U.S. border. And you get into some of these northern reaches, there is some strange things going on, and places that are completely haunted and have never been investigated. Museums, little town museums, forts, everything. Mike, it's an untapped wealth of paranormal activity up here.
It absolutely is. We have like 5 locations on our list that we're going to be doing probably in the next, from now to 6 months, because we have quite a few coming down, of all these little abandoned schoolhouses, churches in the middle of nowhere. And it's all from like the 1870s, early 1900s. I was posting on our Instagram, actually, of these, one of our researchers, Jeff, he lives in Alberta, was scouting a bunch of locations on his way to BC. And, it's going to be busy. And these are all untapped. Like, no one's ever been there. I don't think people have been there since, like, a long time ago.
It's weird. It's weird, Darcy. And you as a documentarian, as we bring you in here, you're somebody who is always looking for that story, something interesting that's going to captivate the attention of people. And we're going to get into your latest documentary here coming up after the bottom of the break. But as someone who is looking for this type of phenomena, somebody who is seeking it out for the betterment of film like you are, how difficult or how easy is it to find these type of locations?
I've never actually investigated the paranormal. I've never gone after the ghost stories. I've always chalked up stuff like that to be possibly, I don't know, entities or, maybe beings that are not visible to the human eye. But I believe that this sort of thing could exist. And I'd be happy to bring a camera and, film some 4K footage of our boy Mike Merle, just getting choked out and feeling some really evil presences and stuff, because that would be incredible to capture that on tape and see how his people, get the vibe and really feel out the spiritual entities inside of a room. I've never really experienced that. I'd love to see and experience it for myself and capture that on camera. Maybe there's something, a cool story to be had in some of these remote, untouched towns that have been, closed down for quite some time and in the remote reaches of outside of Vancouver and in the mountain towns and stuff. But I usually follow stories about UFOs and underground bases like Area 51 and Dulce, New Mexico, and the whole Phil Schneider story I followed. Abduction. We did a documentary on, we call it the definitive documentary on alien abduction, covering some of the most incredible cases. in the world. And then, we've done a Sasquatch doc, Bigfoot and Sasquatch doc. So always looking for a new and interesting story. And maybe I'm going to have to follow this little case, this little interesting case with our boy Mike here.
Well, Merle is an attractant to the strange and weird. He really is. It's like deodorant to him. That's what I will say.
I agree. It's weird.
Last year, Mike, let's get into this story because we've only really told it once or twice on the air, and it's been a number of months since we have. But since Darcy is looking for it, and we always got new listeners tuning on in. Last year, I took Mike into my area. He came up here, and in British Columbia, about 40 kilometers, 25 miles from where I live, there is what we call Canada's, how do they put it? Canada's biggest unsolved mass murder.
What?
Yes. And what happened there was Flight 21, which was flying from Vancouver to a northern city called Prince George, British Columbia, on an old DC-6 in 1965, blew up in the sky. There was a bomb on the plane, and 56 people, including crew, were killed. And the wreckage, some of it, is still out in the mountainous, forested areas of where I live. And I investigated the old RCMP site, where they actually, because there were so many bodies, the local morgue here was not able to store them all. So at the RCMP depot, they actually put the bodies in the cellar. And I have investigated there, and you have to open up this big metal square door that's about 2 feet by 2 feet to go into the cellar. And I was debating whether or not I should go in. And all of a sudden, right in my face, I get, whoa! And I jump back. Anyways, got to try and get you there. But anyways, last year, Mike, Bazooka Joe from our chat room, and myself go into Flight 21. And this is where it starts to get strange, because immediately Mike starts getting activity around a lot of the areas. See, there's two different crash sites. They're about a mile apart. The tail and the wings are in one section, and the other section is where all the seating and the engines ended up. Really, really weird, because, it just blew up all over the place. And so we were at the memorial site where there's a little plaque, and there's a bunch of really nice dedicated areas to this. It's in the middle of nowhere. There is no cell phone service. There is one road in and one road out. So if somebody is coming, you know that you're going to see them. They cannot pass you. Mm-hmm. It's that remote. And, Merle, we had to, you have to get in there, you literally have to make sure that you are driving a vehicle that you don't mind getting scratched, because the trail is so overgrown getting in there.
I'm glad we took it yours.
Yeah, thank you. Took mine, not Merle's pretty pink truck that he has. So anyways, we go in there, and you have to go in armed because there's a lot of animals in that area that would love to kill you. That's being straight up. And Merle starts his investigation, and he starts doing his little thing. Mark is our security there. He has the loaded rifle that could drop, an elephant if needed, let alone a bear or a black bear or a grizzly bear. And we start doing the investigation. Mosquitoes are terrible. And Mike starts getting some immediate hits on his gear. And afterwards, Mike, I'll let you take it from here, because after about an hour of searching this area and doing the investigation around this crash site, you wanted to go exploring, and we kind of all followed you.
I did. This place is really surreal. It'd be a good place for you, you like to do the documentary stuff. But, there's still Coke cans and soda cans and plates and dishes from when the plane crashed. So everything is still there. The only stuff I really removed were the people. So there's chairs there's seats there's carpeting, like old. You could see the carpet. It's withering away, but it's all still there now.
Mm-hmm.
And you just see energy there. If you can tap into energy, it's weird because it's so remote. You can feel people looking at you. I don't know if you've seen the new Conjuring or the new Annabelle movie. I'm just using this as an example.
Mm-hmm.
There's a scene in the movie where they park outside of a graveyard, and then all of a sudden they can see a bunch of spirits looking at them. It's kind of the same sensation, like so many people looking at you. But I have my REM pod, which is a proximity sensor, and whenever any EMF or anything can break the little barrier around the antenna, it spikes. And that was going off. We had Dave, I think, was holding my K2, which was going off. And we were so overstimulated with all the activity we were getting, we set up multiple audio recorders throughout the crash site. But for whatever reason, I was drawn to keep exploring. I hunt, so I'm good in the bush. I feel confident. But I was going into an area where I wasn't feeling very confident. And Bazooka Joe, he kept getting a little more alert with his rifle. He kept telling us that he kept hearing things. But curiosity kills the cat, and I'm the cat. So I keep going deeper and deeper into the bush. And then even Dave was like, where are you going? This isn't a good area to go to. A lot of bears around here. But then, was it you or Mark, Dave, that said that you felt someone following us?
That was me, because we walked in behind the crash site, and we walked through these trees, and there was like a 4.5 foot high boulder just sitting in the middle of nowhere, like where a boulder shouldn't be sitting.
Mm-hmm.
And right beyond these trees, there was a meadow that was maybe 30 yards across, very tiny meadow. And so Bazooka Joe stayed at the boulder, and you and I ventured across this meadow, and we were just kind of looking around, and that's where I had stated that it feels like we're being watched. I think we are being watched, and that's when all of a sudden we heard the voice, that mumbling voice of no.
Yeah, it was weird. I've never heard anything like that. Like, I'm Captain Paranormal. I've experienced everything paranormal, but like with aliens, UFOs, and even Sasquatch, I'm not as well seasoned. So I've heard of all these. When I've talked to my Sasquatch friends, they that's what they say. A lot of times people when they hear Sasquatch in the bush, they make these weird mumbling noises. Dave did it perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
And
mm-hmm. It's to make you aware that they're there.
Yeah, and so we heard that, and we kind of look at each other, and then again we keep going further, and then Mark called us back saying, "Guys, there's something over here. You better get out of there because I can't see it, and we don't. It sounds big." So then we pulled back.
Yeah, and we actually, after we heard the voice the first time, we yelled over to Mark, "Did you say something?" And he's like, "No, I haven't said a thing." He said, and then we asked if he had heard any voices, and he was like, "No." And then shortly after we were going to continue on, that's where we heard the voice again, that mumbling type sound coming from in front of us. And that's where we all of a sudden, well, let's head back to the crash site. And so we met up with Mark at the boulder, and then we walked back, and Merle continued his investigation. And that's where I believe you heard something big, Mike, walking through the trees in front of you.
Yeah,
because
I did.
I kind of wandered more towards where Mark was.
Yes.
So it sounds like you were being stalked by possibly a Sasquatch.
100%. Since I hunt, I kind of thought it was a big game. To me, it sounded like a moose, but probably a bit bigger. So I was having a little bit of a weird processing in my head of how to go about stalking this. So I think the three of us thought we saw the trees move too. So I was following the exact area where Mark said he heard it. And we could even kind of see a little bit of a trail. So I went probably a little further than I should have because I was stressing out the other two. And nothing. We heard the voice one more time. I heard it from where I was, and I believe Dave heard it from where he was, which is kind of weird because we were probably about 300 to 400 yards away from each other. And then it all stopped.
Yeah. So Mike continues on his investigation, and there's a little cul-de-sac that was made where they brought up the recovery vehicles in order to get the remains of the people out. So Mark is sitting in this recovery area, or he's standing there with his rifle on his shoulder, and Mike is back up at the investigation site, and I'm kind of in between. And I look over at Mark, and I see him staring into the trees. And I said, Mark, are you okay? And he kind of puts his hand up like, shut up, right? And then I watched him take his rifle off his shoulder. And Mark is a very skeptical guy. He has never seen any. He'll proudly tell you that he's never had anything weird happen in his life until he met me. Blames me for everything, that happens now. His house is haunted now. They get people knocking on the windows, and their patio's like 12 feet off the ground, and people will be knocking on their patio doors and all of this kind of stuff. I get blamed for that now. That's Bazooka Joe right there for you. I mean, this is the kind of guy where he says, if we run into a grizzly bear, Dave, don't worry, I'll be safe because I'll be shooting you in the leg, right? Nice guy, good friend. But nonetheless, Mark takes the rifle off his shoulder. And he had never seen a Sasquatch print until I showed him one that we had by our gifting site. And he never really believed in it, been hunting in the bushes for 30 years. He's been a guide. He's been a professional tracker. This guy can pick out a footprint like anything. And it's amazing. Like, all of a sudden you're walking along and he's like, oh, did you see the horse tracks that are right under your feet? And you're like, where? He's like, well, see the rounding of the leaves and the weeds here? He goes, that's the front end of a hoof, and you're missing all the tracks while you're walking over. And I'm like, geez, like, he makes you feel stupid. That's how smart he is. And to this day, he will say that he knows the sounds of four-legged animals in our area. And he said whatever it was making noise up high, and it was walking on two legs. Says it could have been a bear. He goes, but I don't think so. And I believe the guy. He knows these forests and these trails like the back of his hand. Where you and I would get lost, I've lived up here for 4 years, I would get lost. He's like, oh yeah, no, you just continue on. He knows these trails. He knows this very well. And this has been very, very eerie for him. And we haven't been out there since. We're waiting for Merle to get back up here. Gentlemen, I'm going to get you to hold on here. We're going to go to break at the bottom of the hour. It's Ghosts of the Great White North. It happens the third Wednesday of the month with Mike Morin, a.k.a. Merle, from Haunted Crew of Canada. Our special guest tonight, Darcy Weir. Strange man, because he likes filming documentaries about strange cases. His latest on Jaime Moussan. We're going to get into that when we come back from the break on Spaced Out Radio. Hey, Spaced Out Radio listeners, it's Dave Scott. I want you to check out a great documentary I'm involved in called Beyond the Spectrum, Moussan's UFO Files. Directed by Darcy Weir, the film follows Jaime Moussan's journey for mainstream journalistic truth in ufology in Mexico. Beyond the Spectrum can be found on Amazon Prime. If you're a member, watch it free. It's worth the watch. Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Looking for the stories of the strange and weird that you will find hard to find anywhere else? Check out the SOR Newswire on our website. Our writers, led by Captain Shirk, are scouring the world for the oddest and most bizarre stories we can find. Everything from weird crime to suspenseful and paranormal. We're working hard for you to bring you the most intriguing news of your day. Check out the SOR Newswire at spacedoutradio.com today.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacy, head of the Research Association, TESSA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you'll be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio, you can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
Did you know Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi there, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I'm here to take you on a paranormal journey each Saturday and Sunday night. Why change the station when you have it all right here? Together, we'll hang out and share some strange and scary stories. And don't forget, we have Psychic Sundays as well, so come tune in Spaced Out Weekend. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com, where we own the night.
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Coming up this September 21st and 22nd, all UFO eyes will be focused on Toronto for the 4th Annual Alien Cosmic Expo. Come listen to some of the biggest names and experiencers in ufology. Travis Walton, Paul Hellyer, Richard Dolan, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Randy Kramer, and Spaced Out Radio's own Dave Scott. Tickets are on sale now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
Welcome back to the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio. Tonight, I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters, waiting for the lightning to start outside the studio. Hopefully it doesn't. Hopefully, I'll stick with the rain here. I'm okay with the rain. No lightning. That can affect the show. Reminder to all of you that if you want to check out our archives, they are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where soon we'll have a plethora of features for you. The Gavinator's working on them, getting them all ready to launch them. I know that because he told me tonight. And until then, you can read up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire and listen to the show live. It's Ghosts of the Great White North tonight, where Mike Morin, the Merle all night from Haunted Crew of Canada is with us, and our special guest, Darcy Weir, a documentarian out of Vancouver, British Columbia. Gentlemen, welcome back.
Hey.
Yo.
So, Darcy, you want to come up here now and look for this, don't you?
You know, I'm intrigued. I like to hear the interesting and wild stories of people being stalked by Sasquatch. And the documentary that I made some years ago, 2016, I interviewed Jeff Meldrum, Dr. Jeff Meldrum.
Yes.
He's a wildlife biologist and anthropologist that teaches out of the University of Idaho State University. I went down there and visited him in his lab, where he's got a collection of over 500 foot casts. And these are casts from multiple different specimens throughout North America from different sightings. And he's still collecting foot casts from incidents that are happening this year, last year, the year before that. So it's not like this whole thing is going away. It seems like this creature exists, and it's all across the wilderness of North America. But that's my theory, and he talked in his book. If you look it up, it's what is it? It's Sasquatch when fact meets myth, I believe, and he talks about how he and his brother went on a expedition hiking through the Cascadia, the mountains here that are on our side of the continent, the west coast of North America. I think he was outside of Portland. He was in the Oregon area, and he got stalked with his brother over a course of days when they were camping by multiple. It seemed like the two of them were tracking him and his brother, and they were very strategic about how they stalked him and his brother. It would only be in the dark, predominantly when the light, was dimming in the day, or when the fog was rolling in. So they were like using that as cover. And it shows great intelligence. And they would find footprints all around their campground, and there was an incident where they felt like one of them was running up on them, and they swung around with the rifle to take a shot, but it veered off and went off into the bush as soon as, they felt like this thing was going to be shot. So I believe they know that humans use guns. And we were talking over the break there, Dave, you said that you're convinced they can recognize the smell of gunpowder because, across the United States and Canada, hunters are going into the forests and shooting off their rifles and killing big game and quail and all kinds of animals. And this releases the smell of gunpowder in the air. And I'm sure that this is something they can recognize after a certain amount of time. And they'll know the dangers from this device we use. So very cool. And over the break, we were talking about John Bindernagel. He's also in my documentary, The Unwanted Sasquatch. And people are like, what? Unwanted? What the hell is that? Did you spell unwanted wrong? Nope. Unwanted means like scarce, hard to find. It's kind of an old English word, and it was on purpose. And it's UNWONTED. And I feel like it's also when people talk about this stuff, there's a giggle or a stigma that comes with it, and people really don't believe in the existence of Bigfoot or Sasquatch. It's kind of a smaller niche group that has this belief, and I feel like it's something that's unwanted. It's shunned by the mainstream scientific community for sure, even though there's been years and years and years of research that have gone into this, and lots of scientists like John Bindernagel, and Jeff Meldrum, and the list really does go on of serious academics that have taken this subject and researched it. And we talked about a word also that cannot be mentioned on this radio show that has made a joke about the whole phenomenon and the creature, and it's too bad, it's too bad that people make it out to be a joke when we should be taking it seriously. There's plenty of wilderness out there where man has not ventured, and we are not the rulers of that domain. That wilderness is too untamed for us, and it's so far away from our cities that anything's possible to exist out there. So I am excited to go on a hike with you boys up in the area that SOR rules. And I've been talking with some friends for years about organizing a little hike to find the elusive or see if it crosses our tracks trying to find us. But we were talking about maybe going to an area called Ruby Creek, which is famous. It's been known to have sightings out there. In my documentary, there's 2 sightings that happened out in Ruby Creek in our history. Back in around 2009, there's a gentleman that's interviewed and on tape recorder in the doc. He was a hunter that went out hunting by himself one day in the summer, and he had a rifle. He was looking for, deer, maybe bear, something that he could get his rifle sights on. And when he came across this little bog, this little sort of swamp area, all of a sudden he saw something flying kind of in an arced way over the pond towards him. and it came crashing down in the reeds in the mush right next to him where he was standing and splashed him. And he looked over, and in the same direction this massive stone was hurled at him, he saw an upright figure walking away from him. And at first he thought, oh, well, maybe somebody's trying to warn me that I've come across their hunting territory. And he started to question, maybe he'd done something wrong. He shouldn't be up in this area. And he, was trying to almost say sorry, like apologize to a person across this little swamp area. And then he realized what he was looking at was not a man. It was something that had thick black hair, short hair, about an inch probably, and all over its body. And it was tall, maybe like from where he was standing, he could see it was 6 to 7 feet tall, and it was walking away into the tree line. And he was immediately freaked out because it all started to sink in pretty quickly after that something that was not a man just threw a massive boulder at him. He's in the middle of nowhere with this gun. And yeah, he's just been tested. So he got the hell out of there, and he wrote to the BFR, the local Bigfoot research organization, BFRO, and they got back in touch with him. And then this interview happened, and the tape recording was shared in my documentary. That happened not too long ago. And then back in the 1950s, there was a incident where a lady who was living on her property, she was a Native Canadian lady. Her husband worked on the railroad that they were building up near Ruby Creek there. And her children were playing outside, and one of the kids said, "Hey, Mommy, there's a cow coming out of the forest." And she walked out thinking, well, there's no cows around here, and we're the only farm around here, and we don't have any cows. So what are you talking about, kids? So she walked out and looked over the property horizon line and could see this massive upright looking ape towering and walking towards her and the kids. And in absolute fear, she collected them and ran down to the train tracks, and then ran through down the train tracks for quite a distance to find the gang that was building them, and was in quite a commotion, screaming, and told them, I just came from my property. There's this massive ape-looking thing that walked across it and was coming towards me and my family and my husband. You've got to find him. And they took this quite seriously because, this is something that had been spoken of in the Canadian sort of annals and history of our wildlife, flora and fauna, possibly Sasquatch being in the woods. So they went with her back to the property, and they would have had rifles and such back then. And when they got back to the property, there was massive footprints all across the property. They tracked the footprints. They went into the lean-to next to the house where Mrs. Chapman had dried fish and some potatoes and stuff like that gathered. The dried fish was half eaten. and everything was moved around, and food was taken, and then they followed the tracks into the garden. The garden was ripped up, and then they followed those tracks all the way over to a fence on the edge of the property. There was one step on one side of the fence, and on the other side of the fence, as if it had just taken one stride, and the fence was about 5.5 feet tall. The other foot was on the other side, just going in the exact same direction. And those footprints, they tracked all the way up to a cliffside, and they lost track of the cliffside because they weren't going to climb this cliff and go and try and find this thing. But all the men were spooked, the family was spooked, and that all happened out in Ruby Creek, which is just before Hope, if you're driving up the highway on the outside of in northern BC here. And I'd love to get a group together of people to do a little hike in the Ruby Creek area and see if we can spot anything.
I actually know that area quite well. It's one of my Fraser River fishing holes.
Cool. And that's the other thing. Creeks just, are hot spots for apparent sightings. Like, you've got the famous Patterson Gimlin film, and that happened in a creek as well. So anywhere where you can find water that's flowing is where you're going to find big game and stuff that are going to come take a sip and move around and keep going into the forest. And I think that's a good place to go for a hike and take a look.
I agree. I actually have a hunting story looking back on it now, 100% Bigfoot, based on all the people I've talked to now. Beaverdale, British Columbia, which would be 4 hours from Vancouver. I know people in the States won't know where Beaverdale is, but you may. I was hunting, and I walked about 4 kilometers into the bush in the middle of nowhere. I was hunting with 3 friends, but I was alone at this time. I was around like a logging slash, and I was kind of camouflaged inside one. This year I was hunting for moose and deer. And I was reading my book because nothing was coming, and it was already sunrise. And then all of a sudden I hear like a big tree snap. And I'm like, uh-oh, here comes a bear. And then I saw trees shaking and moving. And I'm like, bears don't really do that from what I've seen. I've been doing this for years, and I've never seen that. And then all of a sudden I hear large logs knocking, like hard. It sounded like 2, probably like full-size trees just hitting each other back and forth, like somebody was doing it with like it was chopsticks. And then me being like, oh, crap's going to go down now. I put a round in my chamber because I'm going to protect myself from whatever seems like it's going to be coming out at me. It kept getting closer and closer and closer to me. So it would have been about a 200-yard shot, and which is not hard to do, but it kept getting really close to the tree line, but I couldn't see it. And then I would hear the knocks again, and I'd see the big trees moving again, and then it would come a little closer. Then you'd almost hear, it wasn't like bear grunts, it wasn't any sort of like predator grunt or anything like that. It was weird. And then it just stopped. And it I have the recording of it somewhere, of the tree sounds, because I had recorded it on my phone, the sounds. But yeah, no, 100% has to be Bigfoot.
Tree knocks. Yeah, that's also a common reported phenomenon when this creature is around. Tree knocks. It's awesome. I mean, I've never had a sighting or come across it, but I've been up to Harrison Hot Springs probably about 12 times at least in the past few years, and every time I go up there, I talk to the locals and such, and I hear about people saying that they've seen it, or they've been driving in their car at night and they've seen something run into the woods, but it's upright, on two legs, and it looks back and it looks kind of like a man, kind of like a ape or something, and they just get freaked out and they don't know whether to stop their car or keep going. They're just like lost in the moment, and they just keep driving. And it's spooky. It's crazy that we're not acknowledging this thing, that this this being that may take stake in large territory of our wilderness.
And really, that's the big mystery. As we said on the show a couple weeks ago, in this area here, and I know it's happening in Washington State, I know it's happening in Oregon and Northern California, where there's a lot of logging going on, where logging is a major, major part of the economic foundation as you go inland or to a lot of these provinces and states. And when you get into these areas where the logging companies are having their equipment tampered with, and these are places where people don't go. They're in the middle of nowhere, cut trails specifically for the loggers. I mean, this is where things get very strange and weird, because these logging companies, they have been told, or they have told their employees, stay the heck away. Don't talk about it. If you want to keep your job, just shut up and don't say a thing. Because the logging companies are quite afraid that if Sasquatch is proven to be real, that they are going to have a loss of logging opportunities, because the minute you find something and something is proven, you have to study the area.
Yep.
Government scientists come in and they want to study the area, and they want to make sure that there is a good habitat for whatever creature it is or whatever animal it is to survive. And that's what it comes down to. And we only got about 20 seconds left. So,
well, I gotta say though, just to top that off, that this is something even in Australia, they have been saying for years that the thylacine, the Tasmanian tiger, may exist, and that is the reason the logging companies don't release that they've seen them too.
That would make sense.
That was literally...
sense. Okay. Gentlemen, you hold on. We're going to go to break here at the top of the hour. Mike Morin, the Merle, the myth, the legend from Haunted Crew of Canada, Ghosts of the Great White North. We got Darcy Weir with us as well. We'll be back with more Spaced Out Radio after this.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
Come hang out with Spaced Out Radio, where we own the night. This is Carl. You can follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, and during the show, use the hashtag Spaced Out Radio to chat with us live. On Instagram, at Dave Scott SOR. On Facebook, give our page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. SOR archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. Come join us, or I will come join you. See you at your window.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com and remember, Little Brother is Watching.
Canada's largest UFO conference is ready to roll in Toronto this September 21st and 22nd at the Alien Cosmic Expo. This year is about the experience. Listen to the stories of Dave Scott, Travis Walton, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Ryan Stacey, Richard Dolan, Leslie Mitchell-Clark, and more. Get your tickets now at aliencosmicexpo.com. Find your escape where time has no limits. It's about living today and cherishing the heritage of yesterday. A spirit of adventure for what is new, with the nostalgia of the past. Your timepiece is a reflection of who you are. Life surrounded by beauty from the world around us to the soul within. EscapeWatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Hey fans, it's Dave Scott. Do I have something for you to check out? A great documentary about legendary Mexican investigative journalist Jaime Moussan and his search for the truth about UFOs. Beyond the Spectrum, Moussan's UFO files can be found on Amazon Prime. It's free to watch if you're a member. You might even hear me in it. So check out Beyond the Spectrum, only on Amazon Prime. The Call of the Wild is in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is one of the hottest bars and restaurants in the city. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose will rock you like a hurricane all night long. Great food with everything on the menu at $6.95 near the corner of Nelson and Granville. Get your horns up and come rock with us. The Moose Vancouver, the official rocking bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacey, head of the Research Association, TESSA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you'll be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
At spacedoutradio.com, we have a little bit of everything for you to stay up late. So while you're there, check out our SOR Newswire, where our team brings you stories of the weird and strange to the WTF from around the globe. News on Bigfoot, UFOs, paranormal, Darwinian-type crime tales. It's the stories that the mainstream media usually won't touch. Well, we got them all on the SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
We are getting ready to relaunch the SOR Space Travelers Club at spacedoutradio.com. For $5 a month, you can join us for a plethora of features found nowhere else. Hang out in a private chat room during the show and after party. You can check out some exclusive content and a store specifically for you, as well as a private listener forum where you can post your thoughts, stories, and pictures. The SOR Space Travelers Club, coming soon to spacedoutradio.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
The freedom to post what you want, when you want. That's the social media freedom you need. Social Media Freedom is the free app in your app store. No need to worry about going to jail or being shadow banned any longer. It's the freedom to say what you feel. The freedom to know Big Brother isn't watching. It's the way social media is supposed to be. Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free. Download from your app store today.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Welcome back to hour number 2 on Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for being with us. Appreciate everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates. KZFX 93.7 FM in Ridgecrest, California. WQEE 99.1 FM in Noonan, Georgia. UPRN 107.7 FM in New Orleans. KDUN AM 1030 in Reedsport, Oregon. And down in Dangerfield, Texas, KDNF AM 1560. We are also on the digital side on Kingdom of Nye Radio and Revolution Radio. Great to have you with us. Don't forget, you can check out all of our archives for free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Ophiomormus. Ophiomormus is your password. Make sure you use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets a password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where you can read up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. And we got new features coming very, very soon. We have some artistry from our man named Filth. We have a Bumblefoot page, the SOR Space Travelers Club being built, and so much more. So stay tuned. It's coming very, very soon. Ghosts of the Great White North happens on the third Wednesday of every month, where we are joined by Haunted Crew of Canada's Merle Morin. And tonight we have special guest Darcy Weir. He is a documentarian out of Vancouver, British Columbia. Gentlemen, welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much for having us. I'm super stoked to be on and chatting with you.
Oh, we love having you here. Love having you here. Merle, how you doing?
Doing great. It's a good show. Lots of good chats.
Yeah, Merle's our entertainment. He's our sidekick for entertainment. That's why we love him around here. Now, Darcy, I want to get into a little bit of a different topic here, because you have recently released a documentary on famed journalist out of Mexico and UFO researcher Jaime Moussan. How did you come across this?
You know, when I was, I guess, like 23 or 24, like 10, 11 years ago, I was rabbit holing into the whole UFO research world. And, I was reading about all kinds of UFO incidents that were happening around the world and documented cases, and there you get all kinds of people that are gathering information and releasing it and going to conventions, and one person that just consistently was coming up around that time was Jaime Moussan. And I didn't quite know who he was, except that he was Latin American, like he was from Mexico, and that he took UFOs very seriously, and he was popping up a lot at UFO Congress down in Arizona there. And, he would bring an associate, and they would recap some amazing UFO videos that were caught on NASA's space cameras and from the space station there, and from live NASA feeds. So I got really interested in that whole thing, and he would show lots of videos that were being caught in Mexico by people from an organization that he actually founded called Skywatchers. And this organization is still going strong today. There's thousands and thousands and thousands of people internationally that are like part of this group, submitting videos to him all the time. I just thought, wow, this guy's very professional. He's presenting this information. And I researched him a little bit more and more every year. And I found out, okay, he's actually a legitimate news journalist, a newscaster in the Latin American regions. He's very popular in Mexico, and he's been going strong since the 1970s. Basically, I thought, I've released quite a few documentaries in the past few years, and I thought to myself, wouldn't it be cool if I did a documentary about Jaime Moussan and how he got into this whole subject and where he started his career. So I reached out to him. He's got a studio down in Mexico City. I flew down there with my partner. He was more than happy to have us. We collected a bunch of archival footage from his studio. We sat down and talked with him about the project, and then he, gladly let us interview him. And the story unfolds that, he started his career in journalism. He was actually working for 60 Minutes in Mexico under some critically acclaimed journalists there when he was 19, 20. And then he did some of his first stories on some very important Mexican events, some incidents in history that were going on down there. So he was a mainstream news journalist for a long time until he covered the story of Billy Meyer. Billy Meyer, as some of you may know, is a gentleman, a one-armed man who's captured a lot of controversial pictures and videos of supposed UFOs that were landing up in the Swiss mountains back in the 1970s. And he called them light ships and described these people that were apparently coming to visit him as futuristic humans, humans that were just further evolved than us and were trying to come and send a message to humanity through him. Michael Horn has written and dedicated most of his life to talking about Billy Meyer. He's a big researcher on Billy Meyer, and you guys should check out some of the stuff that he's done. But I digress, and Jaime covered him, and then people started thinking, okay, Jaime might be like somebody to be interesting, and who's passionate and to go to on some of these stories. He went back, to talk about normal stories after that on 60 Minutes and TBS Tekka and the normal news channels over there. And then in 1991, there was a mass sighting that happened across Mexico. There was a solar eclipse that happened, daylight, and millions of Mexicans were told to turn their eyes to the sky and watch the solar eclipse, use eye protection, don't be like Trump and look directly into the sun, and record the incident if they'd like, and share their videos with the news stations if they get some really cool videos. Well, a whole bunch of people were doing that, using their old, let's say, VHS camcorders and stuff like that, Betacam maybe. And in these videos, people started saying, hey, like in between me and the moon and the sun, we saw these spinning discs. We saw UFOs in the sky. And the news started getting out across Mexico that millions and millions of people were seeing the same thing. And these 3 videos got circulated, and they were sent into the news station that Jaime was working at, and he picked them up and reported on this incident, and they did a big feature on it like the next day and showed on live television these videos, but they were from multiple different locations like Mexico City, Puebla, which is an hour away, and another region. And they all show the exact same sort of UFOs that look like a silver disc-shaped hovering craft that's sort of spinning a little bit in the video. And this took off like wildfire, and people were pretty much having UFO fever. They were starting to look at the sky a lot more in Mexico, and Jaime became kind of overnight an authority on this phenomenon. And then, he ran a show called Tercer Milenio, which is actually still around today. But in 2004, another big incident happened, but this time it was the Mexican military were following what they thought were Narcos airplanes that were trying to evade the authorities. They were in this area called the Campeche region. It's like southwest of, say, Cancun, just to give you an idea. But by like hours, like let's say 4.5 to 6 hours southwest of Cancun, still part of the Yucatan sort of area. And Campeche borders with Belize, and like it's a really good area because it's just forest. If you wanted to be a Narcos, you could hop in a plane and fly over to that country, or fly from that country across Mexico, and then across the water there into the United States pretty easily, because that piece of land is pretty thin. You don't have to cross as much of it, and you'll be, out of Mexican airspace quicker than you know it if you travel through that route. So the Mexican military was aware of this sort of strategy, and what they thought they were tracking was Narcos. Well, they had a camera on this this craft that was a FLIR camera, and FLIR and UV cameras now are becoming more and more famous for capturing UFOs. And in the footage that I've got in the documentary, it's the original footage that the military had shared with Jaime. They actually called him in, the head of the drug administration, basically, kind of like the DEA in the United States, but this is in Mexico, called him in, was like basically a general, said, "We've got something to show you." He thought he was in trouble or something. He's like, why am I being called into the drug administration? They sat him down. They showed him this video. He said, "Were these following your craft?" And he immediately figured out what was happening was they were trying to get his thoughts on UFO footage that they had shot in another light spectrum from their aircraft. And he said, "Yeah, I think these are UFOs." And they said, "Okay, that's what we kind of thought." And he said, "I'd like to take this and give this to the public and tell this story because people need to know." And they said, "Okay, you can have it. And you will have, you know, the respect of our military and our forces. So definitely be respectful back to us. So don't mess this up." And he aired that footage and covered the incident, interviewed the pilots, and published that on TV. The crew that were there, and they talked about the whole thing. And that's in my documentary too. This is called Beyond the Spectrum. It's part of a series I'm doing, Beyond the Spectrum series, and it's called Moussan's UFO Files. And yeah, pretty groundbreaking stuff that happened in 2004. And you know, we've been talking for the past 2 years about the Tic Tac UFO incident that happened off the coast of California. That video that shows in FLIR footage as well. A UFO that the pilots were chasing. It did maneuvers that are unlike any craft that we have, and it went from, you know, ocean level to 14,000 feet in seconds, and you know, outpaced the craft and outmaneuvered like, you know, there were nothing. And the pilots were blown away. And imagine what these Mexican pilots were like, because the exact sort of same thing happened, except 11 UFOs surrounded their craft. And one of them essentially kind of followed them right until they left the Campeche region to get out of there, because they were kind of freaked out. And they could only see this, you know, kind of tic-tac UFO light or balls of light around the craft in the FLIR camera. They were not visible to the human eye. So it was like as if they had some kind of cloaking technology or something that could evade our senses, you know, not be detected. And that's an interesting thing. I've covered that in a few documentaries now. And the first documentary in the series, which is just called Beyond the Spectrum, is mostly about UFOs being caught on camera by NASA in space, you know, overlooking the Earth. Because back in the 1990s, during the STS missions, which are now defunct, they would take this special experimental camera on board the shuttle this Discovery shuttle, and they would put it up to the windows, bay windows, and they would record in UV light, ultraviolet camera light only, UFOs around our planet. And, the interesting thing is that this stuff gets captured more and more in different light spectrums than the human eye can see. So that tells you a great deal about our perception is not the end all of what is in our universe. Our perception is limited. Technology advances our perception, and NASA is interested in using this technology to enhance their perception to see what's around our planet. Why are they using it? Well, I think they're curious, as any person should be, about what's going on around us. And they're using the best technology to find that. FLIR technology, which is trying to find far length infrared signals with a camera, also captures the infrared light spectrum that we can't see. And the military has been using it for years in multiple different countries. Nowadays, you can pretty much get a FLIR camera. I think, Mike, you said you even had one, right? Yeah?
Yeah, Mike does. Yeah, I know he
Mike
has
does?
an SLS. Yeah.
Yeah,
For hunting.
Mike,
I just got the FLIR. It's a new toy for our team. It attaches to an iPhone or an iPad, and it takes the photos through the attachment. But yeah, we also have that SLS.
Yeah, and I think this technology is pretty essential if people are trying to go out there and find stuff that is in our universe, in existence, along with us, that we can't normally see. And I'm curious, have you ever found anything with that stuff?
With the FLIR, no. It's relatively new to our team. I've seen it used with other teams when I've been with them. And yeah, so with paranormal investigating, what you normally would get would be cold spots in what would be a normal temperatured area. And you get that quite frequently with it. But we do, with the structured light camera, the SLS, we do get a lot of hits. And that is basically an Xbox Kinect mapping out entities. So it'll map you out, like say I have it pointed at you, and you're standing alone against a wall, and we suspect that there's a ghost there. It's going to map, and the ghost is standing beside you. It will map out that ghost. So we get a lot of hits with that.
And on that note, gentlemen, I'm going to get you guys to hold on because we're going to go to break at the bottom of the hour. Merle Morin from Haunted Crew of Canada. We have Darcy Weir, documentarian. We're talking Jaime Moussan, UFOs, and whatever else comes up right here on Spaced Out Radio. Hey, Spaced Out Radio listeners, it's Dave Scott. I want you to check out a great documentary I'm involved in called Beyond the Spectrum, Moussan's UFO Files. Directed by Darcy Weir, the film follows Jaime Moussan's journey for mainstream journalistic truth in ufology in Mexico. Beyond the Spectrum can be found on Amazon Prime. If you're a member, watch it free. It's worth the watch.
Coming up this September 21st and 22nd, all UFO eyes will be focused on Toronto for the 4th Annual Alien Cosmic Expo. Come listen to some of the biggest names and experiencers in ufology. Travis Walton, Paul Hellyer, Richard Dolan, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Randy Kramer, and Spaced Out Radio's own Dave Scott. Tickets are on sale now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
Did you know Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi there, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I'm here to take you on a paranormal journey each Saturday and Sunday night. Why change the station when you have it all right here? Together, we'll hang out and share some strange and scary stories. And don't forget, we have Psychic Sundays as well, so come tune in Spaced Out Weekend. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com, where we own the night.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rockin'. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Every night on Space Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio. You can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Looking for the stories of the strange and weird that you will find hard to find anywhere else? Check out the SOR Newswire on our website. Our writers, led by Captain Shirk, are scouring the world for the oddest and most bizarre stories we can find. Everything from weird crime to suspenseful and paranormal. We're working hard for you to bring you the most intriguing news of your day. Check out the SOR Newswire at spacedoutradio.com today.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacy, head of the Research Association, TESSA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you'll be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
We passed the halfway point on Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott, hanging out with all of you from SOR headquarters. Thank you so much for joining us. Reminder, if you've missed portions of this show or others, you can always head on over to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where the Gavinator is working on new features for all of you to check on out. We're going to have a little bit of everything on there. Stay tuned, but for now, you can read up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire, listen to the show live, and soon much more. Haunted Crew of Canada's Mike Morin is here tonight. We call him Merle as he comes in for Ghosts of the Great White North. And tonight we are pleasured to be joined by Darcy Weir, who is a documentarian out of Vancouver, British Columbia. We're kind of talking about Jaime Moussan, his latest documentary. Darcy, welcome back.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here.
No worries, no worries. When you started going into Jaime, everybody knows there's a little bit of controversy surrounding him, but I'm going to keep that for another night because we're going to try and get Jaime with you on this show here in the near future. But when you look at the way that, and I want to focus on the journalism side here, there are very few journalists, true journalists, that are covering this field, even fewer who are trying to cover it from a very straight down the middle level of journalism, the way journalism is supposed to be. How, in your conversations with Jaime, how was he able to balance a career of as a journalist for well over 40 plus years towards being a ufologist as well and believing in a phenomena that people need convincing on?
Yeah, well, I mean, when you come across some amazing UFO events like he has, I just spoke about those two, but he's been in the game for 47 years, and he's seen and heard of the craziest things. He's even seen like beings or entities that you would call possibly ET when he's gone on research trips with his crew. And it changes you when you see all this stuff and you are absorbing this information constantly. I believe it changes you. And his passion is to talk about this stuff because he doesn't want it to go away. He believes in disclosure, with a capital D, meaning the governments come out and the militaries also release their documents on all of their findings in relation to possible ET visitation to our planet, and UFO and craft touching down and military's investigations and shooting them down and so on and so forth. And then also admitting that they have had to keep this in secrecy for national security reasons, implications that are to protect the public, so on and so forth. But he does balance, the whole UFO and ET sort of subject with other things. He's been on national television in Mexico under Televisa and now TV Azteca. And, every week internationally when they do their show on Tercer Milenio, which these shows are over an hour long, they cover all kinds of stuff. They cover political events that are happening in Mexico. They cover international events, sometimes tsunamis or natural disasters that have struck and hit certain countries. They cover health and well-being, sort of innovation and information that can empower people. They cover just a whole slew of different news topics. They don't just focus on this, but he always incorporates UFO and other news that is related to that subject into his broadcast. And, one of the other things he's super, super passionate on is the destruction of our environment, climate change, and how we are getting even crazier superstorms hitting the East Coast, and larger droughts on the West Coast, and forest fires spreading, and heat waves hitting France and Europe and Australia burning up. And he covers Russia going through deep freezes and heat waves and just like all kinds of abnormal climate change that he thinks is attributed by mankind's intervention and pollution and the destruction of the planet. And it kind of comes back to the UFO subject, because some people state that a good reason for UFOs to visit our planet is to also try and educate us and stop us from destroying ourselves. So that's just something that, he's trying to get out there, and he's passionate about that as well, big time. And I think he does balance journalism.
Yeah, and that's a tough one right now. In regards to the whole disclosure movement, what's his thoughts on that?
He thinks it's happening. I think a lot of people know it's happening in a bigger way than ever now. It really did start in a bigger way with the Tic Tac UFO release. I'm not sure why the American military would be allowing that to go through Tom DeLonge. I think that guy's a very interesting celebrity to pick. But To the Stars Academy is slowly working with different media and the military to release more and more stuff. And this subject, the UFO subject, is the worldwide most Google searched, Bing searched, whatever search engine. It is the subject that is the most searched internationally, other than of course, pornography. But that tells you something. That tells you there's a vast appetite for this because people want to know. And I think they're starting to take it really seriously now.
So many people want this to happen, but many are under the assumption that it is maybe not happening the right way as it should, when really none of us know what that right way should be. We can only assume with our own opinions. Does Jaime feel that disclosure is happening the proper way?
You know, I can't. I don't know if he thinks it's happening the proper way. I haven't asked him that myself. But I think in a future show where we get that answer, it's going to be coming up, and it will be on your show. You'll get that answer from him.
That would be kind of cool. That would be kind of cool. When you look at all the ufologists out there, not just Jaime, but ufologists in general who've been doing this for years, decades, and I'm asking your personal opinion, not Jaime's here, Darcy, but with everything the way it is coming down right now, where we could be on the path to disclosure, we might be on to confirmation, it might end tomorrow, we don't know. But in your opinion, as an outsider looking in who has a real creative eye for this field, do you feel there is anything missing, or do you feel we are on point with the information that ufologists have been providing for years to where we are today?
I think that what I read recently, Paradigm Research Group, which is run by Stephen Bassett, he's been campaigning for disclosure from the government in a big way for years. He did the citizen hearings, organized all kinds of pilots, generals, just credible people from all over the professional spectrum to come testify, aviation experts and stuff that had seen or been a part of a phenomenon, a UFO sort of sighting, and so forth. And this was in front of sort of a congressional type hearing set up, and judges were present and so on. Stephen Bassett, recently did a newsletter talking about Tom DeLonge's very viral tweet where he said, "What if I told you that I have footage of a military helicopter being shot down by a UFO, and that's going to be aired on this new History Channel episode for a show that he's producing with To the Stars Academy." And the controversial thing about that is it's fear-mongering. I think people are kind of missing that with the unknown comes fear. And this is still a very unknown. We don't know. There's all kinds of noise that's out there. Some of that noise is going to be fear-based, and some of it's going to be, kumbaya, we're going to be saved by another race that's spacefaring, blah, blah, blah. You got to be wary of all that stuff.
Right.
And to cut through it, I don't know if we should be relying on a History Channel episode to be delivering the truth as we need it. I think it should be coming from the government. It should be coming from military sources directly They should be doing press conferences where the press, just like a presidential type hearing or address, can speak to a whole slew of reporters from all across the media, and all of the media are represented, and they can ask questions unbiased and from every different aspect of this community that we live in, the world, right? And it's not happening. So that's the big thing, that's not happening, and that it's coming from I don't know, more of a fan-based release of information. So that's the big thing I would be wary of and to be careful of.
We got about 6 minutes before we got to go to break at the top of the hour. Mike Morin and Darcy Weir are our guests tonight. Darcy, I want to ask you something, though, because I look at Mike, okay? Mike is somebody who is not into the UFO field. He's not interested in it. You know, I don't know why, because, I mean, when it's all Merle all night, you should be right into the woo at 100% speed. But there's a lot of people on this planet like Mike who have zero interest, think it's a waste of time. We can't control what's up there, or maybe they don't believe that there's anything up there. Yet we see all of this going around. In your opinion, what do you think has to be done to convince people like Merle to start taking this subject a little bit more seriously and paying more close attention?
I think they have to see it themselves, and maybe not like see a UFO with their naked eye in the sky, but they have to hear a story from somewhere in this realm or this phenomenon that speaks to them. Not every story will, but there are so many stories out there about apparent UFO sightings or incidents that have happened either on a military installation or from an aviation, from flights, or, you know, captains of commercial flights, and so on and so forth. If you are interested in at least finding those stories, listening to them very openly, and then once you hear all the testimony from credible witnesses, and you can still say, nah, this doesn't matter, I think you'd be surprised, because I think you wouldn't be able to say this doesn't matter. I think you would be a little bit changed deep down. You would know maybe we're not alone. Maybe there's something out there that's more than us. And I think there is. And I think there's huge implications in knowing that. It means we should be a bit more humble as human beings. And we should be a bit more careful with our planet. We should respect our other earthlings and mankind that's out there. And we should try to find out more about ourselves and our origins, and we should try to find out more about the universe, and see who the hell is piloting these crafts if they are visitors from elsewhere.
Merle, are you a believer?
Am I a believer? I do believe there are things up there, obviously. I do. I would say yes. I believe in aliens. To confirm it, I need to see it from my own eyes. I need to see that. How many times have we sat on your deck and I've called them out and I see nothing but stars? I just want to see, like they say, I want to experience what you have experienced. And I've opened myself up to try and experience that stuff too. So I'm not a hater. I'm not a disbeliever. I just need more information guy right now with it.
No, and I understand that. But what I'm more getting at is, we got about 2 minutes left, is the fact that you want confirmation for yourself, which I think is extremely fair to ask, but you also deal in a public realm with a lot of people who are, lack of a better term, five senses people. And anything out of those five senses, they don't want to hear about it. They don't want their time wasted on it. And that's the way the disclosure movement seems to be going, is aimed at people like that. So when you look at that, Merle, as an outsider, do you think that's good for the public? Do you think that the public is going to get the right message?
No, I'm following that Area 51 thing right now. I'm curious to see about that. But no, I agree with disclosure. I would like disclosure because then I can have it in my own hands and be like, all right, so this happened, here's these guys' accounts. That's what I'd like to see, too.
I don't think it's going to happen.
No?
I really don't.
What's going to happen
really
do you think that'll happen?
I think that the message in the narrative is, as I've said many a times, is so controlled right now that that's dangerous for the public, because anytime you have anybody who wants to control the media or you wants to control any sort of narrative, there's always a sinister side to it, and we just haven't seen that yet.
I would agree.
Right? That's
I would agree. I think that that the government would never want to admit to keeping such a deep secret and lying, therefore, for many, many years. So it's in their best interest to keep it under wraps.
That's true. I agree with that, what you're saying.
Well, we're going to see where it plays out. We definitely will.
Yeah, we'll see.
With UFO guys, what's your opinion on like that whole Area 51 raid? Is that a thing?
I think that's ridiculous.
So, but let's talk about that when we get back from the break, guys, because we do have to check on out because we are through 2 hours, just like that, on Spaced Out Radio. This show is speeding on by. I cannot believe how fast tonight's show is going with Merle Morin from Haunted Crew of Canada, Darcy Weir, documentarian out of Vancouver, British Columbia. It is Ghosts of the Great White North. It happens the third Wednesday of every month. Merle's next appearance, the hurricane will roll in on August 21st. More Spaced Out Radio with Hour 3 coming up next.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother Is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com and remember, Little Brother Is Watching.
At spacedoutradio.com, we have a little bit of everything for you to stay up late. So while you're there, check out our SOR Newswire, where our team brings you stories of the weird and strange to the WTF from around the globe. News on Bigfoot, UFOs, paranormal, Darwinian-type crime tales. It's the stories that the mainstream media usually won't touch. Well, we got them all on the SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
Come hang out with Spaced Out Radio, where we own the night. This is Carl. You can follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, and during the show, use the hashtag Spaced Out Radio to chat with us live. On Instagram, at Dave Scott SOR. On Facebook, give our page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. SOR archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. Come join us, or I will come join you. See you at your window.
Find your escape where time has no limits. It's about living today and cherishing the heritage of yesterday. A spirit of adventure for what is new, with the nostalgia of the past. Your timepiece is a reflection of who you are. Life surrounded by beauty from the world around us to the soul within. EscapeWatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
The Call of the Wild is in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is one of the hottest bars and restaurants in the city. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose will rock you like a hurricane all night long. Great food with everything on the menu at $6.95 near the corner of Nelson and Granville. Get your horns up and come rock with us. The Moose Vancouver, the official rocking bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Canada's largest UFO conference is ready to roll in Toronto this September 21st and 22nd at the Alien Cosmic Expo. This year is about the experience. Listen to the stories of Dave Scott, Travis Walton, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Ryan Stacey, Richard Dolan, Leslie Mitchell-Clark, and more. Get your tickets now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
Hey fans, it's Dave Scott. Do I have something for you to check out? A great documentary about legendary Mexican investigative journalist Jaime Moussan and his search for the truth about UFOs. Beyond the Spectrum, Moussan's UFO files can be found on Amazon Prime. It's free to watch if you're a member. You might even hear me in it. So check out Beyond the Spectrum, only on Amazon Prime.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacey, head of the Research Association, TESSA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you'll be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
From the mile-high mountains of Colorado to all of you around the world, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I invite you to stick around spacedoutradio.com for Saturday and Sunday nights where I host Spaced Out Weekend. Let me take you on a wild ride of weird and strange topics, from ghosts and ETs to remote viewing, psychic phenomena, and so much more. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern Time on Spaced Out Weekend, where we own the night.
On the first Tuesday of every month, I encourage you to come along for a journey with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You. Together, we will take a look at how to access the highest expression of yourself and change your life. Consciousness, ET contact, health, and wellness, we can talk about it all. So come along for a spiritual ride with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You, only on Spaced Out Radio.
the freedom to post what you want, when you want. That's the social media freedom you need. Social media freedom is the free app in your app store. No need to worry about going to jail or being shadow banned any longer. It's the freedom to say what you feel. The freedom to know Big Brother isn't watching. It's the way social media is supposed to be. Social media freedom. It's time to set yourself free. Download from your app store today.
We are getting ready to relaunch the SOR Space Travelers Club at spacedoutradio.com. For $5 a month, you can join us for a plethora of features found nowhere else. Hang out in a private chat room during the show and after party. You can check out some exclusive content and a store specifically for you, as well as a private listener forum where you can post your thoughts, stories, and pictures. The SOR Space Travelers Club, coming soon to spacedoutradio.com.
Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
We're kicking off the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for being with us. Hi to everyone listening in on Dangerfield, Texas, or down in Dangerfield, Texas, KDNF AM 1560, KDUN AM 1030 in Reedsport, Oregon, UPRN 107.7 FM in New Orleans, WQEE 99.1 FM in Newnan, Georgia, and KZFX 93.7 FM in Ridgecrest, California. On the digital side, hi to everyone listening in on Kingdom of Nye Radio and Revolution Radio. Thank you for joining us. Don't forget, all of our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Ophiomormus. There we go. Ophiomormus is your password. Make sure you use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets a password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where you can read up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire, listen to the show live. The Gavinator's going to have brand new features coming very, very soon. We have these gentlemen for the next half hour on Spaced Out Radio. Mike Morin from Haunted Crew of Canada. He's known as Merle around these parts. And Darcy Weir, a documentarian out of Vancouver, British Columbia for Ghosts of the Great White North. Gentlemen, welcome back to the show.
Hey.
Thank you.
There is over 1.3 million people who say that they are interested or attending September's running into Area 51. Now, this was all done as a hoax, but it has really taken off. And the unfortunate part about it is, Mike, there's a lot of people who will take it seriously and actually try to do this. Now, on Monday night, we kind of stated on this show that we do not want any of our listeners taking part in this because, let's face it, places like Area 51 can get you killed. And we kind of like our listeners and want them to stick around. So, Mike, I'm curious, what's your thoughts of this big joke that's turning into something serious all of a sudden?
My thoughts is I question it. I don't know if people have the fortitude to follow through with it. I think it's a hoax, too. I think if people try to storm that fence, they're going to get hurt by the military because there's strict don't come near our facility signs everywhere. So people will need to abide by that. But yeah, no, I think it's a hoax. I think there'll be a couple dozen people that show up and they'll get arrested and then it'll be on the news and that's how it'll go.
Darcy, your thoughts?
I tend to agree. Yeah. I mean, I think it's idiotic to think that that's a good idea. Storming Area 51, like, what are you doing? It's a military installation. The military reside there. They have military power to keep you out. So don't risk your life and limb just to catch a glimpse of something that's probably deep underground anyways, and not open for the public to see.
Well, here's the other thing is the United States Air Force is taking this threat very, very seriously, to the point where they have actually released a statement saying, you can get killed here. This is not a place to play. There's some serious stuff going on here, and, don't come here. Stay away. They are forewarning people to do this. Yet, here we have people jumping on the bandwagon. Now, do I believe that there is going to be 1 million people show up there? No, I do not. I don't believe that whatsoever. But I think there is more of an opportunity for maybe 50, 100 people who may be a little bit naive, a little bit thick-headed, maybe a little bit mentally unstable, that may try, Darcy, to do something this stupid just to see if the government means what they really, really mean, which is they will kill people.
It's going to be a novelty until they see guns or military pointed at them. And then they're going to be like, uh-oh, we're sorry.
Yeah. And I mean, I think the whole allure and this fad to try and storm Area 51 was brought about, I know you heard that, Canadian, about, because of the recent Bob Lazar documentary that's come out by Jeremy Corbell. I think it's kind of sweeping the nation right now, and people are fascinated once again with Area 51. And it's gotten to a point where people just want to know the truth about what's going on there. But you're not going to get the truth by storming it. You're going to get the truth in some other way, but it's going to be not in a hostile way. You'd have to, if the government wants to prevent something like this from happening, maybe they should just disclose what's going on there. But yeah, I think people are becoming a bit fanatical about this, and it's not healthy, and they should take pause and be a bit more intelligent about what they're trying to do with their life.
I don't know if there's a lot of intelligence going in this. Now, the group that's created the event is saying that it is a hoax, all right? The way they're talking about Naruto running and, pulling your arms as far back as you can behind you and putting your head down and running so that way you could dodge the bullets, it's definitely made for a joke. It really is. But like I said, and Mike, I'll get your opinion on this, there's a lot of people out there who don't understand the safety issues. And those are the people who are going to get themselves hurt, potentially, seriously, if not fatally. And I hate to put it that way. It sounds so dramatic, but that's the reality of the situation. Now, personally, I don't think anybody's going to get close. I think the closer you get to that day, there's going to be police roadblocks turning people away. Mm-hmm. And that would be at the famous black mailbox that you're supposed to turn at to go down the gravel road. And that's what I think is going to happen. I don't think anybody gets close there, but there's going to be the wingnuts that try.
There's also, people that have reported trying to covertly sneak up on Area 51 at night. And there's technology that surrounds that facility that makes it impossible for anything to go unseen and unheard. They have sensors buried in the ground, cameras that are hidden that look like rocks. People have tried and failed numerous occasions, and even Bob Lazar himself in his documentary said that he was busted at night with his friends because it got out that he was taking people up there to show them UFO test craft being flown at night over the area where Groom Lake was supposedly kept, this facility. And one time they were up there, they looked into a direction, they heard something, and then they saw like infrared light cameras turn on and something thrown at their feet, and like 6 soldiers came out of nowhere, and they were like in the middle of nowhere, and no sound was created until that very moment. So they were like, how the hell did these guys get here without us noticing? And that's the thing. Like, there's no way anybody could even sneak up on there. And if you're going to storm it, it's the stupidest idea ever.
He really is. He really is. Merle, what do you think?
100% agree. Like, they have the data now, so you don't think the military or the police around there is going to kind of beef it up for that day, a couple days before and a couple days after, for these weirdos that are going to, quote-unquote, do it. But no, I don't think they're going to do it. I think that, like you said and I said earlier, there'll be like 12 to 50 people coming there with their X-File T-shirts on and getting ready to storm it, and then they're just going to be pushed away. That's it. That's my opinion.
Mr. Skeptic on Twitter says, I think it's unlikely anyone gets killed. If things work out the way they used to, they'll end up in the hands of the sheriff. Lawyer up, morons. And I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me if this is because I'm not a UFO guy, so this is just an uneducated question for you guys. Has there ever been any fatalities at Area 51 of people trespassing?
There was one earlier this year.
Wow. All right.
Where a gentleman drove his car. I believe he got 8 miles in before they were able to stop him, and they ended up having to drop him dead. Wow. So, I mean, there is precedence of this. Now, people have crossed accidentally because there is no gate. There's just a sign. There is no gate or cattle guard or anything like that. It's just a sign. And there was a tour bus that took people out there to show them where Area 51 was, and the bus driver got distracted, and they actually drove about 150, 200 yards in before the camo dudes pulled them over, and the bus driver almost lost his job. The company almost got shut down. I actually interviewed that company. That was earlier on in Spaced Out Radio Land. I think we were still on Blog Talk Radio back then. And... And, yeah, it was severe. They had to fire the driver, and it was just an honest mistake. He had, I believe, 8 passengers on, and they were all tourists. They all thought that it was something that, was part of the tour, and the camo dudes came out guns blazing, trying to figure out why this tour bus was going into Area 51. And the tourists got let off, the guy lost his job, and the company almost lost their license because of it. That's how severe and serious they take it down there.
Kind of what I figured. Yeah, just curious.
Yeah, It's a nasty piece of information. I think anybody who is planning, give your head a shake. Don't go.
Yeah, I agree.
You'll get the one numpty that'll try and push the border and see how far he can go. That's what'll happen. That's what'll happen.
And he might get shot.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got a better chance of getting a job there and then going to look and seeing what's going on. Legally. Apply. Fly on Janet Airlines. It's the only airline to fly.
Yep.
Right out of McCarran.
Yeah.
A few years ago, I actually, because when the Janet Airlines, I believe this is correct. When the Janet Airlines need to take off, they have full control of McCarran Airport in Vegas. So all other flights are delayed until the Janet jets take off. And I actually had one of our flights delayed because of that a number of years ago. I don't know if it's still like that now, but I know it was like that.
Mm-hmm.
So for people who don't know what the Janet jets are, they're 737s. They're unmarked aircraft, and all they have is either a red or a green stripe going down where the windows would be on the 737. It's actually kind of cool to see. And they are flying directly into Area 51.
Oh, wow. Cool.
It's very cool.
Bus in, bus out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Free airline flights. I wonder if they get air miles off of that.
They must.
No. They got mad cash, though, for working there.
I had a buddy of mine, true story, Jamie Sexton. He actually told this story on the air a couple years ago, where when he was living in Vegas, curiosity got the better of him. And he decided one day to go down to the hangar where the Janet jets land, and he was kind of secretive about it, and and he was watching the employees come out, and then he watched, as a bunch of employees came out and got in their cars, he followed one home. And he thought he was doing his best stalking that he had ever done, trying to be secretive and everything along those lines, staying a few cars back because he wanted to see, where one of these people lived, what kind of houses do they have, so on and so forth. His curiosity got him. Well, by the time he turned around to get to the end of the street where this person lived, his vehicle was pulled over by a bunch of unmarked vehicles, and he was surrounded by guns. And he had to produce his ID, and they were asking, what the hell are you doing? Why are you following this person? And he got off with a very, very stern warning. He's never kind of told me what that is, but he got off with a very stern warning, basically saying that if he ever did it again, he'd be spending a long time in jail. So he's always been curious if that person called in, or maybe they had a security button on their car that they pressed for the GPS. He didn't know. He really didn't know. But, it really goes to show that these employees, they are trained. They are trained to make sure that nobody is following them home. They are trained to make sure that, nobody is picking up where they left off. And that story has always intrigued me because, number one, I would never do that. But it's always intrigued me that he said it was within 2 minutes. Within 2 minutes, he was surrounded by people, surrounded by police in unmarked cars. And they were ready to rock him over.
Was the street full of really nice looking houses, or?
I don't know the outskirts of Vegas that well, so I don't know. He said it was a pretty nice area, though, but I don't think it was mansion-type area. So, hopefully people will stay away. We've only got about 5 minutes left tonight. Darcy, what's the next documentary you're going to be working on?
I'm working on a documentary called Beyond the Spectrum Humanoids. And it's all about supposed alien footage of ETs here on Earth caught by people that have had encounters. And if not ETs, what are there? And we're going to kind of analyze that. A lot of the stuff was shot in Latin America, and we're going to have Jaime's take on some famous incidents that he covered. You can find my documentaries. 2 of them have recently been released on Tubi TV. Tubi TV is free. You can download the app on your phone or on your smart TV, whatever. But Tubi TV is completely free. You don't have to pay for it. And there's lots of good films and stuff on there. You can watch Beyond the Spectrum, Being Taken, which is an alien abduction doc we did. And you can watch the Sasquatch one, The Unwanted Sasquatch. And, the other 3 are on Amazon Prime. You can find all of them on Amazon Prime. If you have a subscription, they're all free to watch. And that's Being Taken, Beyond the Spectrum, the original one that's about secret space, like NASA footage. The Underground, which is a account of military secrecy, UFOs, and Phil Schneider's accounts of working on an underground base in Dulce, New Mexico. The most recent one, Jaime Moussan's UFO files. It's Moussan's UFO files, being Beyond the Spectrum. And I hope you all like it. Please leave a comment if you have one on the Amazon pages, and keep looking out for new documentaries that we're making as they come.
And Merle, what do you got coming up for Haunted Crew of Canada?
Haunted Crew's heading south. Gonna go say hi to our friend Ross Allison in Seattle. Then we're gonna go down to the Wolf Creek Inn, which is a famous haunted location in Oregon. Also, we're gonna be doing the Oregon Vortex. We're gonna be going to a ghost town, kind of like old mining town called Buncon in Oregon, and probably Crater Lake Lodge. And then I'll have lots of stories for you next month, because those are all haunted locations. And we're going to be doing investigations in each site and filming all that stuff.
Look at you, Merle. Just moving on up. Going into the U.S., taking that Canadian crew down there. What happens if the ghosts don't say A down there?
That's okay.
You're okay?
Maybe they'll say about.
They say y'all.
Yeah. So just so you all know, on Twitter tonight, they were having a drinking game with the way us Canadians say a boot. We don't say a boot.
Yeah, never mind.
That's the Twitter people.
No.
We don't say a boot, man. We don't say a boot. But we get the harassment. No. We get the harassment anyways. Gentlemen, what a pleasure it's been to have both of you back on the show tonight. It's been a lot of fun. And I really, really do appreciate that so much for coming on in. And, Merle, I'm glad you're back on the air with me tonight, because a year ago, it was pretty tough. You literally had to run the show. And I'm going to get into that a little bit when we come back from the break here at the bottom of the hour. But I want to say a big thank you to Mike Morin from Haunted Crew of Canada for Ghosts of the Great White North. And, of course, Darcy Weir, documentarian from Vancouver, British Columbia. And I hope to do more voiceover work for you there, Darce. That would be really cool.
Yeah, you're welcome on the next doc for sure. We're going to have you talk and tell the story for us.
Absolutely. I can do that for you. I got this whole voice thing figured out. It's been a while, but I got it figured out. And it's
you got a golden voice. Golden voice, my man.
Face for Radio 2, my friend. Face for Radio 2. Gentlemen, thank you so much for coming on Spaced Out Radio tonight for Ghosts of the Great White North. We will be back with Mike Morin on Wednesday, August 21st, so that'll be a lot of fun as well. Coming up next on Spaced Out Radio, we have the SOR Newswire and the Thought of the Dave. Stay tuned.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacy, head of the Research Association, TESSA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you'll be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Hey, Spaced Out Radio listeners, it's Dave Scott. I want you to check out a great documentary I'm involved in called Beyond the Spectrum, Moussan's UFO Files. Directed by Darcy Weir, the film follows Jaime Moussan's journey for mainstream journalistic truth in ufology in Mexico. Beyond the Spectrum can be found on Amazon Prime. If you're a member, watch it free. It's worth the watch. Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch. Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today. Coming up this September 21st and 22nd, all UFO eyes will be focused on Toronto for the 4th Annual Alien Cosmic Expo. Come listen to some of the biggest names and experiencers in ufology. Travis Walton, Paul Hellyer, Richard Dolan, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Randy Kramer, and Spaced Out Radio's own Dave Scott. Tickets are on sale now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio. You can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
Did you know Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi there, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I'm here to take you on a paranormal journey each Saturday and Sunday night. Why change the station when you have it all right here? Together, we'll hang out and share some strange and scary stories. And don't forget, we have Psychic Sundays as well, so come tune in Spaced Out Weekend. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com, where we own the night.
Looking for the stories of the strange and weird that you will find hard to find anywhere else? Check out the SOR Newswire on our website. Our writers, led by Captain Shirk, are scouring the world for the oddest and most bizarre stories we can find. Everything from weird crime to suspenseful and paranormal. We're working hard for you to bring you the most intriguing news of your day. Check out the SOR Newswire at spacedoutradio.com today.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
We've rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. I'm your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Great to have you with us all night. Reminder, if you've missed most of this show or others, you can always go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where you can read up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. The Gavinator has new features coming very, very soon. Now, speaking of the news, let's get to the SOR Newswire, brought to you by Paranoia Magazine. The news is always changing, which is why we bring you the SOR Newswire at the back end of every show. We get to the weird, the strange, those head-scratchers of headlines. Going to get a little serious here first, because I want to say a big thank you to all of our Spaced Out Radio listeners. This is from me. This is from the heart here. All right, 1 year ago, my 29-year-old nephew passed away. And I went on the air that night with Mike Morin. And there were times I had to step out because I was just way too emotional, or I was talking to my sisters who really needed me at that time. And you guys stuck with me. You stuck with me through a lot of hard times. We didn't miss, I think we missed one show during that entire time. But the way that you guys supported me and the way that you showed a lot of love towards me, my family, and the situation that we were going through at that time, I really owe it to you. I really owe it to all of you. And that's why, I try and give my best on the air each and every night, because it is something that means a lot to me. You guys were there for me when I needed it. I want to be here for you each and every night, because hopefully you need me as well. And this show and the chat rooms, who have a bunch of different people on there, becoming really good friends. And even if you're not in the chat rooms and you're just sitting around listening, whether it's on YouTube or whether it's on one of our beautiful terrestrial stations, there's 5 of you, this has become a real family type of atmosphere here. And without you guys, I couldn't do it. And without all of you, I definitely could not do this job. I really couldn't. And I want to say a big thank you because today is the 1-year anniversary of my nephew passing. And I realize I am not the only one who has had tragedy in their life and, or our family. And, it happens, unfortunately, every single day. My nephew passed away from a fentanyl overdose. I don't hide that. I don't hide anything like that. I'm one of these people who believes that if we don't talk about this kind of stuff, it continues to get swept under the rug. How many of us grew up in those families where it was like, oh, well, we don't talk about that, shh, we don't talk about that. Screw that. We're talking about it. My nephew, 29 years old, overdosed and died off of fentanyl. And it is a dangerous drug. It is very dangerous. And it's one of those drugs that it doesn't have a heart. It doesn't have a soul. It doesn't have anything to do with love for you or anybody it touches. And neither do the dealers who sell that crap. So if you know somebody who is addicted, whether it's to fentanyl, heroin, cocaine, any horrid drug, alcohol, stick with them. Help them get help. It may hurt, and you may have to show that tough love. You may have to walk away for a little bit. But you know what? The one thing that I can say is that we never gave up on my nephew. He was in rehab. He relapsed. And, at the rehab he was in, he had to wait 72 hours before he got clean. And he decided to have one final hit before he went clean again. And that's what cost him. The last time was the final time. And you guys helped me out. So thank you so much, Spaced Out Radio listeners. Means a lot to me, my family, that we felt all the love from all of you and continue to feel that today. So I just wanted to share that from my heart to all of you. So really, really appreciate you guys taking the time. Let's get to the news. An aspiring Newfoundland astronaut may have a little bit of history. A woman from St. John's is devoting some time away from her astronaut aspirations to mark a major milestone in human history by coordinating a global effort to celebrate the upcoming 50th anniversary of the first lunar landing. Bethany Downer is a global coordinator of Moon Landing 50 with the International Astronomical Union. Astronomical? I guess so. Didn't know that was a word. An international body that oversees all things outer space, such as naming planets and demoting them. Oh, she's one of the ones who demoted Pluto. What a sinful, sinful girl. The job entails overseeing and coordinating worldwide celebrations of Apollo 11's mission success on July 20th, 1969, when its lunar module touched down on the moon, seat of tranquility. Yeah, the flat earthers won't like that one. Hey, Rano. To say it has had a very important impact in society in various different ways is an understatement, says Downer. Downer has spent the last several months compiling moon-related projects and activities in 115 different countries. She says it really emphasizes that this is a global celebration. This is something we're all proud of and we're all recognizing. Good for you, young lady. Get to the moon yourself. No freeloaders here. All right. Moving on here. I don't know if I agree with this, okay, because one thing I love in life is a good burger. I love a good burger, all right? I love beef, okay, steak, ribs, all right? I'm good with it. Well, according to a new study, Americans will need to cut their average consumption of beef by about 40% and Europeans by 22% for the world to continue to feed the 10 billion people expected to live on this planet in 2050. This is all according to a new report. That means each person could have a burger and a half each week. Oh, I'd love to get my statistics back up to that. This calculation comes from the World Resources Institute, a global research nonprofit that supports better use of natural resources to sustain a growing population. Its research looks at agriculture, the climate crisis, poverty, and gender, among other topics. Its final Creating a Sustainable Food Future report, released today, takes a closer look at the gaps in food production and global demand and makes several concrete recommendations on how to prevent a catastrophe. The report is 560 pages long about eating less beef. Yeah. They estimate there will be 9.8 billion people living on the planet by 2050. That's up from 7 billion people in 2010. Demand for food is projected to outspace population growth, increasing by more than 50% as people's incomes in the developing worlds are expected to increase. The demand for meat and dairy is expected to rise even higher by nearly 70%. The global demand for ruminant meat, meaning beef, sheep, and goat, is expected to be even higher at 88%. But to keep with the food demands overall, the report predicts farmers are going to have to produce 56% more crop calories than in 2010, and that means that land nearly twice the size of India will be needed. That's what Northern Canada's for. Move them all in there. You know, how about take away some of these weeds that people are eating? Weeds, kale. I don't know if I trust people who eat kale. There's something shifty about them. Something shifty. Don't know. All right, let's head to another mystery. This of Malaysian Airlines Flight 370. Apparently, it had a mysterious addition to the flight list after takeoff, according to an engineer whose wife and 2 children were aboard the ill-fated aircraft when it disappeared in 2014. Diego Garcia. Ghislaine Waterlos recently told a report that French investigators made the discovery while probing the passengers and baggage reported aboard the airline. The Boeing 777 carrying 239 people from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing vanished March 8th, 2014, and is presumed to have crashed in the far southern Indian Ocean. A safety report into the disaster by an international team last July revealed the plane likely steered off course deliberately by someone and flown for several hours after communications were severed. It was also learned that the mysterious load of 89 kilograms or 200 pounds was added to the flight list after takeoff. A container was so overloaded without anyone knowing why. In addition to the late flight list addition, French investigators who examined the flight data at Boeing's headquarters believe the pilot was in control of the Boeing 777s right up to the end. Some abnormal turns made by the jet can only be done manually, so someone was at the helm, an unnamed person cited as a source close to the investigation said. I still think it's at Diego Garcia. My tinfoil says that. All right. I want to do this. Who's with me? Who is with me? Oscar Mayer is offering up an Airbnb experience quite like any other. The company is giving people the opportunity to book the 27-foot-long hot dog on wheels for an overnight stay in honor of National Hot Dog Day today. People wishing for all things hot dog related can hop on to Airbnb's Wienermobile listing on July 24th to request to book a one-night stay on either August 1st, 2nd, or 3rd, Oscar Mayer said. Chances to score a reservation will be made available throughout the day. Oh, this is pretty nice in there. There's actually a double bed in there. They're showing pictures. The listing, which places the Wienermobile in Chicago, has a $136 per night rate and a 2-guest minimum or maximum. We can't think of a better way to celebrate National Hot Dog Day than to give hot dog fans what they've been craving, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to stay inside the most iconic hot dog out there by making it available to book on Airbnb, Matt Reisman said with the company. Among other amenities on the Wienermobile, a mini fridge with a ready supply of brand's hot dogs. Visitors who stay will also be given a welcome package that features hot dog-inspired attire, including a wiener onesie to snooze in. Oh, who doesn't want that? Who doesn't want that? I want that. Totally, for sure. All right, moving on. Let's go to New Zealand in Wellington. Renee from New Zealand. And what's the frequency, Kenneth? Maybe you've heard this one already. 2 little blue penguins just couldn't stay away from a New Zealand sushi store, returning to nest there even after police had captured them and escorted them back to the ocean. Wellington police described them as waddling vagrants, while the store's co-owner joked that he had no idea that word of his tasty raw fish had reached as far as the subaquatic community. But Jack Mace, an operations manager for the Department of Conservation, said the birds would simply have thought that they had found a snug burrow underneath the store and wouldn't have taken note of it being sold above them, of what was being sold above them. They were within the penguin commuting distance of the harbor, and they thought they'd found a nice spot, Mace said. Police got the call about the penguin on the loose in the city on Saturday night after somebody reported spotting a grumpy bird under a parked car. Police said they managed to release it back into the ocean, but they started getting more calls on Monday and found 2 penguins huddled under the sushi bar near the capital's busy train station. The waddling vagrants were removed from their sushi stand refuge earlier today, said Constable John Zhu. Unsurprisingly, this was not the first report police had received about the fishy birds. Let's get to the thought of the day. Thought of the Day happens every night at this time, where we ask a question on our Facebook and Twitter pages, then read your responses on the air because we love the audience participation around here. Today's Thought of the Day is as follows. What paranormal, supernatural UFO event should there be a documentary made about? Explain. What I was hoping for was people to name ones that hadn't been done. Sometimes I wonder if that's just too difficult sometimes, but apparently we got some good ones. Everett. Gee, just what I need. More documentaries. Joe, if you could find a good team to research, interview, and document eyewitnesses' accounts about the skinwalker of the Native American legend, would be my choice. I think that's been done. I've found some really terrifying reality behind the topic. Reluctance to discuss the topic might be encountered. John, he wants a show on Shrimpy. Yeah, we got to find out more about Shrimpy. That'd be a good cocktail show. A51 on Twitter. I'm trying to make it. Kickstarter goes horrible, but I guess basically the holographic screen theory is what it is. David, the Vannevar Bush, von Neumann, Philip Corso connections between Roswell and ARPANET and Feinberg's Prometheus project in the context of Ike's 1955 Holloman Treaty and how it was negotiated. If you want to make sense of Neuralink and ET, look there. I agree with you. Holloman, that's going to be a big date coming up here. Ike's Treaty. Might have to get Michael Salla back on for that. Creeps in the Night. Realistically, cryptids. How about we start a Kickstarter fund for a helicopter, a crew, and some infrared night vision equipment flying over the forests of the U.S.? Proof. Done. Next. Puxley in the UK. The Real Men in Black and the occult connection to the UFO phenomenon. Keelian perspective with a touch of extreme woo. Hey, that was a good woo. Andy wants a documentary done on the Stephenville, Texas UFOs. There is radar evidence and credible witnesses. Gregory, I am supporting the upcoming CE5film.com by Dr. Stephen Greer as his information needs to get out to the world. Julien, Doris Bither, a truly deep, up-to-date, what the heck happened documentary. I mean, they could witness the event and then later on listening to tapes and hearing the voice of people walking, moving stuff like it was on some unbalanced parallel. Weird. William, the Aztec crash. case. An objective documentary would go a long way towards demonstrating the fact that the UFO community continues to embrace cases that have been investigated and proven to be invalid by journalists, UFO investigators, and trained field investigators of varying disciplines. Barry Taff, how about the link between paranormal and ufology? That's a good one. There is often paranormal fallout after CE4 or sometimes after a CE3. Why does that happen? I agree. Got time for a couple of more here. Tim, Aztec case also. There's been some very thorough investigating done. The efforts of Microwave's comrade Cranked Up may have what brought these and others down in New Mexico and Arizona. Also, military personnel died due to these installations. Gail, a documentary on the fathers of ufology. Who are they? Who were they? What they accomplished, controversies, and their legacies. Nicholas, Mokele Mbembe. I love saying that. Mokele Mbembe, the dinosaur of the Congo. I actually believe there is someone making a documentary on it. I can't remember his name offhand, but he's a professor from Saskatchewan. And finally, Kelly gets the last word. Kelly and Kelly's beard. There would be a season, or I got to read this right. Hold on. There would be at the season level of Ancient Aliens if they did a documentary series on the life of our Keith Andrews. Major peak woo in that one, indeed. Thank you to everybody playing part in the Thought of the Dave. We'll do it all again tomorrow. You can find my question, my Thought of the Dave, on my Facebook page or on Twitter and hashtag Spaced Out Radio, at Spaced Out Radio. We'd appreciate that. Also, big thanks to Captain Shirk for putting the news together tonight, because we kind of need it for the back end of the show, and she does such a good job. Thank you, Captain Shirk. Really appreciate that. A big thank you once again to Darcy Weir and Mike Morin from Haunted Crew of Canada for coming on for Ghosts of the Great White North. Mike will be back on August 21st. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal rocking in the background of Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, in your cars, at work, in our chat rooms on Facebook, the SOR Space Travelers Club, Spreaker, Revolution Radio, and on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Wherever you may be hanging out, listening to the show, I really appreciate it. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. I want to say a big thank you to each and every one of you once again for helping me out for the last year, helping out my family, sending the thoughts and prayers. That's the way we do it, because together, my friends, we own the night. I will talk to you in 21 hours from now. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Good night, everybody. See you tomorrow.